Oh, I thought we were live.
Nope,
We weren't live this whole
we're
time.
live. We are live.
I've been talking this whole time thinking we were live. We weren't live.
No, now we're live. Yay. Yes, yes, yes. We are here today. Welcome to About My Book Business. This is the first of many episodes that Deb and I are going to do. I'm Tresa Chambers, 10th Muse Enterprises. Many of you all know me. I am a publishing and marketing strategist, and I'm here with my collaborator extraordinaire, Deborah Mortimer of Leap Forward Publishing. And we are very excited to be here. And I'll tell you a little bit about, why we decided to do these LinkedIn Lives. Really, what it comes down to is that Deborah and I have many conversations about publishing. We connected months ago about publishing books, and we were focused specifically on self-publishing, and we were focused on getting great sales with books. Deborah, as you all may or may not know, is an amazing children's book author as well.
Thank you.
And so with that, we had these conversations about how to get more visibility, how to build a brand. And because of my focus on marketing, her focus on publishing, we just kept having these great conversations, and all came down to what are the challenges that a lot of authors, whether they're self-published or traditionally published, what are the challenges that you have when you're trying to launch a book and grow your brand and get sales ultimately, right? And so that kind of led us down this path to having constant conversations, sharing our knowledge, and discovering that we had something to share with others as we connected with other folks in the industry. So that's how we got started. Deb, you want to add some more?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we definitely got started through NABO, National Association of Women Business Owners, which, if you're not a member, you need to be. And it was just a fortuitous encounter, right? Because we were meeting with so many different people in our group, and we just happened to meet and realize that we had so much in common with publishing and our vision for what we wanted for our businesses and for our books. And I think this is a great platform for us to talk about it, because there's publishing is really broad, right? We have traditional publishing, we have hybrid publishing. We'll talk a little bit more about that at some point. And then we have self-publishing, and there's a benefit and a con to all of it, really. And I think that they're all valid. If you can be traditionally published, that's amazing. That's awesome. But for a large percentage of the population of people who want to be authors, that's not necessarily open to them. And do you want to sit and wait for your voice to be heard, or do you want to create a platform to have your voice heard? And so, self-publishing and hybrid publishing has its place for, so that everyone can eat from the same publishing table. Not necessarily equally, unfortunately, but at least you can do that. And then you can build an entire business, because like Tresa said, I am the owner and operator of Leap Forward Publishing, but I'm also an owner operator of Mortimer Legal, which is a trademark company. And I'm all about brand strategy and teaching authors how to make a business, along with Tresa, how to make a business out of your book, because you can.
Yes, you can. And, to your point about self-publishing and getting that visibility, that's important. But it's also important to know that even with traditional publishing, only the biggest brands, the most famous celebrities get the attention that we see, that we know. We look at the New York Times bestseller list, and we look at USA Today bestseller list, and we think, oh my gosh, I could be an author like that. Well, you can, but it takes time. And you have to really think about building the brand that allows you to be able to have a publisher want to take you on.
Right.
Because those are the kinds of factors that determine whether you could be traditionally published, whether you have a strong enough brand. Unfortunately, in this age of social media, what your social media audience looks like really does inform the publishing process as well. So that's something else that you really have to consider is how do you build momentum? And that's really the part for me that was important to talk about the business of publishing, because so often what I've seen is that a lot of authors who are emerging, they may be first time authors, they have higher expectations than it is reasonable
Yeah.
for that first time book. But the other part of that is that you do have to have a plan. And if you have a plan to grow your brand as an author, to grow your platform, and to build an audience, then you really can get those opportunities to be traditionally published as well. So we want to be able to talk about what that looks like. And building an author platform is something that a lot of times people have challenges with because unlike Deborah, who is extremely extroverted, many of us
Yeah, okay.
who call ourselves authors, we will default to I'm introverted and I don't want to be on social media, or I don't want to be on camera, or whatever the excuse is. I don't want to talk to the public. And those are reasons that we don't grow our brand as effectively as we could. And so one of the things that I like to do is to offer options for my clients who are nonfiction authors primarily, although I do work with fiction authors as well, and children's book authors like Deborah. But really, it's important to come up with a strategy that's going to be working for any author, no matter what their audience is, no matter what their personality type is. The beautiful thing is that we are in a world where you have so many options and so many ways to connect with your audiences. And that's something we really want to bring to you too. Want to share all of those resources with you, all the options anyway, and help you figure out what are going to be the best options for you as you go on your journey to building your author platform.
Now, I want to set the record straight and state that I did not have a social media presence before being an author. I was very, very adverse to social media because I thought that it was intrusive and just putting yourself out there, and just didn't. But a bit of advice that someone gave me while I was in the production of my first book, Zora and the Very Big Question, was that you can't pop up on social media. You just can't pop up and expect someone to support you, because the attitude is going to be, well, who are you?
And that's the case with any marketing, any brand.
Right.
Yes. Who are you?
Who are you that dares to come up on social media and want something from me, and I don't even know who you are?
That's right.
So I had to get out of myself and start a social media platform. And at first, it was just me providing inspirational quotes and all these things, and I didn't get any traction at all. It wasn't until I actually showed my face that I actually showed my face and started talking that I was like, wait, what? Now I was getting all these friend requests and all these, and I was like, that's it? Really? People just want to see your face. So a lot of people don't know that if you don't have a social media presence, that selling your book, selling yourself starts way before you start to launch that book. Way before. You have to, like you said, you have to build up your audience. You have to allow people to get to know who you are and what you're about, because selling a book is not just about selling the book. It's about selling you and your message and who you are. And people need to know that, else they won't buy in your book.
They won't. And, you really are kind of pushing social media, which is fine, as a way to grow your audience, because it is a great way to grow your audience very, very quickly. There are so many different platforms.
Yeah, there are.
Finding who the right audience, where your audience is on all the different platforms is really important too, because it helps when you realize you don't have to be on all of the things. If you don't want to do TikTok dances or write white papers for LinkedIn, there's some happy medium, and so it's important to realize that you have all those options. But it's really important also to know that there are different audiences as well, even as you go out into the publishing world. I have focused more on business to business versus general consumer marketing.
Mm,
And so we definitely should talk more about that down the line. But that really means that instead of, it's the difference between selling your books essentially out of the back of your car, or at street festivals and book fairs and selling them one at a time. That is a consumer, direct to consumer marketing strategy
right,
versus business to business, where we're talking about selling 100 books at a time, selling 200, 500 books at a time, and scaling your sales much faster. Everybody has the potential to do that if you go to the right audience. So I love what you've been doing. So, with a children's book, people think, oh, well, who buys the books? The books are bought by the parents for the kids. But you've done a lot of interesting things recently by going into the schools and doing events at the libraries. Tell
yeah.
us about that.
Well, I have started that, and I've learned more from you actually, the B2B aspect of selling books, because I think I was more focused on just the consumer basis, the parents and the teach and the individual teachers, but learning from you that there is it's a quicker way to reach a wider audience in dealing with. I mean, this month I'm actually going to be speaking at the New Jersey School Counselors Conference, where you're reaching a much broader audience of school counselors and school administrators than the individual teachers, and hoping and praying that they speak about your book to their principal or their administrator. But that is my hope. That is my hope to have, especially like Zora and the Very Big Question, which has a curriculum for career day, that if I can get that into a broader audience, that it could become a staple in schools, so that that it's used for a career day lesson plan throughout every elementary school in school districts. That would be amazing. So
Yes.
taking it one step at a time in going into the schools. Tomorrow I'll be at Dodd Elementary in Allentown, which is really exciting.
Where's Allentown? People don't know
Allentown,
necessarily.
in Allentown, Pennsylvania, I'll be at Dodd Elementary, and reading and doing a writing program for the students there with Zora and the Very Big Question, and implementing that career day curriculum to teach them about the critical ways of thinking about what you want to be when you grow up and so forth. But that is definitely a way to get my foot in the door, to maybe reach out to the school district.
Yes.
And if they like it enough, maybe it could be part of the curriculum. I don't know. But I know that the authors that I have spoken to who have been successful in getting their books bought school district wide, it's the way to go. It's definitely the way to go. If you can sell 200, 300 books at a time, then, and or even get those government contracts like we've learned from Nava, then that's definitely a way to scale your business.
Absolutely. I mean, and a few hundred is great. I am also a member of the not independent book publishers, Association of Book Packagers. There's so many publishing
Right.
related organizations, right? So Association of Book Packagers. And on a recent call, I was listening to a couple of the packagers talk about contracts where one sold 750,000 books at once. Someone else sold 52,000 books. Okay, this is what's possible. And one of the things that over my entire career, people have told me that I think too big, but it's because I've seen it. I've witnessed these huge outcomes. And so it does frustrate me when I hear people talk about wanting to sell hundreds of books when I know the potential, even for an independently published book, to sell at scale. It's possible. And it's possible with not hope, but with a plan. And you know
Yeah.
how I am about the plan.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't think that you can ever dream too big. You and I both know
No.
that I believe that you can never dream too big. If
Yeah,
your dream doesn't scare you even a little bit, then you're dreaming too small. You need to
that's
dream even
right.
bigger. But let me ask you this, because what you said was really interesting about selling thousands. Um, is that because like I see how that's really possible with nonfiction, like a textbook or something like that in a school. But you're telling me that a children's book, for instance, a children's book, just something that can be read in, as entertainment, that can be sold in the thousands within schools. Because that sounds, yeah.
Well, actually, in this case, no, it wasn't. It wasn't a fiction book, but it was a book it was a collection of books
Hmm.
that was sold to educate kids about their careers.
Okay.
So there's a tie-in. So even if you have a fiction book, like Zora, great example,
Yeah.
right? Where you're building out a series of stories that are related to career. Those are the kinds of opportunities that you can have to sell at scale. And I talk a lot not only about the packaging option, which we'll have somebody on here talking in detail about what book packaging is. I first learned about it when I was working on Goosebumps books, which is kind of a great link between the whole packaging concept and the characters that you have in Zora. So you could have characters that get developed out for different book series and reinterpreted so that if Zora's teaching about a particular career, then it's the character that you can develop a book series around that gets sold at scale. But
Gotcha.
the other thing that I love to talk about too is the licensing aspect, which
Mm,
is what I was doing with Goosebumps books. Is we did Goosebumps book licensing. That's where I also learned about packaging, but it's the characters. So if you think about the greatest example is something like a Disney, where you see Mickey Mouse on all kinds of things, but Disney itself doesn't make T-shirts, believe it or not, or toys, but they license those characters to toy manufacturers, to T-shirt makers. And I always use the reference of T-shirts because it always makes me crazy when I see people starting T-shirts businesses. That's a personal issue that I have because I feel like people have great ideas. You teach about and you're an expert on intellectual property, right? And
mhm.
so instead of making t-shirts with unique sayings or characters, you can trademark those ideas and then you can license them to a t-shirt manufacturer. And instead of selling 100 t-shirts, you have the potential to sell hundreds of thousands.
Okay.
That is the potential of building a great author brand.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying this stuff happens overnight, but you have to have intention. So that's the thing that's really important to have that plan, right? And being able to be really clear about what you ultimately want to go to, that big dream, knowing that it takes steps is really important. But you have to be committed to the process. And that goes back to what we're talking about. It's being about your business.
Yeah.
This is a business. It's not once you hit publish, you just sit and wait for things to happen. You literally need to have a plan for having your books sold to one market and being successful there, and then you scale from there and you look for opportunity. You can be opportunistic, but you start with one market and then you grow from there, and then the potential is just going to grow with you and the opportunities are going to grow as well.
Okay, I have to correct one thing you said, because if there's any intellectual property attorneys that are listening, they're gonna be like, "Oh, she didn't correct her when she said this." So when you said trademarking an idea, you can't do that. It would be trademarking. You can trademark your character,
Character.
but it has to be in connection with a particular good or service, right? So if you're
Yes.
trademarking a character, it has to be for, say, books or stickers, or it's or a animation or toys or bookmark, whatever. It has to be
Right.
it has to be trademarked for that specifically. So when it comes to, like, let's say Mickey Mouse is a trademarked character for Disney, and then it's licensed out to be used as a brand for toys
For
or
toys.
for
Yes.
T-shirts or something like that, because you can only trademark a brand. You can't trademark an idea. Copyright is,
Right.
and we'll get into the weeds
We'll
of all
get
that
into that.
at some,
Yes.
but I just wanted to correct that because I know someone might go, "Oh, she didn't correct her for that."
No, that's a great point. And when I said ideas, I actually was like thinking about like phrases that people have that they can possibly own, or a unique word or something like that that can get transferred literally onto a T-shirt. So
Well, you
yeah,
can't.
great
Well,
correcting that.
okay, but you can't trademark short phrases or what have you on the T-shirt. That's a design that would be for copyright. But
Yes.
yeah, you can only trademark a brand. So I just got to make sure I say
Yes.
that.
And that's why Deborah's the lawyer and I am the marketer, and we work together. I don't have to know all of the details. I just have to
No,
know that I need a lawyer
no,
to
right,
ask these questions who can answer them correctly for
right,
me,
right,
so that I don't get taken advantage of
right,
or I don't lose
right,
my brand.
right.
So, even your name, I mean, that's something that actually can be protected legally, right?
Oh yeah,
We see
oh yeah,
celebrities do it, but also authors can do it. There are people who have pen names that they write under. Those are things that can be protected.
well,
So all of that, right?
as long as you're using it in connection to goods and services, that it is something that you can possibly trademark. Of course, there's a whole process. You have to make sure that someone else isn't already using it, and there's certain things that you have to consider for when it's a named, because it can't be something that's common. So yeah, but
Yeah.
Leap Forward Publishing, trademark.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Nobody else can use Leap Forward Publishing
in connection with publishing.
in connection with
In
publishing.
connection with publishing, because you're
Yes.
only, we're getting into the weeds of it, but you can
Yeah.
only protected within the class of goods and services that you are registered for.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
exclusive.
I love it. So
But
yeah,
yeah,
and
for authors, but we can definitely
we'll do a deep dive on
a deep
that.
dive for authors, because there are many ways in which authors can build their brand and protect it. So I work with
And
many authors.
protect it. Yes, yes. But that also brings up a key factor that we're going to discuss regularly here, which is the cost of publishing, right? Because it does cost. And that's why having that business mindset is really important, because when you're in business to make money. And so there are costs that are associated, but the goal is for you to make money with your publishing. And so thinking about having a business mind when you hit publish, before you hit publish, thinking about your book as a product is really, really important. And what goes along with that is going to be making the difference between whether you are going to stay in business or you're just going to have a bunch of books sitting in your garage, which a lot of people unfortunately do.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I have some ideas about even how to revive those books that are sitting in your garage if you're willing to do some work or think strategically about it. But there are some ways to do it. There are people who have had books sitting around for a long time, and then a milestone comes, and all of a sudden they have a chance to get rid of all those books, sell all those books. So there are some really great opportunities. And then there are some cool things that happen with publishing. I'm thinking about one of my friends who actually has published a children's book about the eclipse. Shout out to Alexon Callahan. And y'all know the eclipse is coming up next week, or this week, the 8th, right?
I think so, yeah.
And she like, the timing was perfect. And
Perfect, yeah.
so she's got her children's book released, and she's got pallets of books
Yeah.
that are being sold.
Well,
So a lot of that is timing.
Yeah. And the thing I love about children's books is because if you're like my books are generally between ages 5 and 10, right?
Yes.
So what's great about that is that every year there's a new crop of children that are your key market audience, right? Because new children are learning how to read or becoming 5 years old or whatever. And so it's like your book never really gets old because you can
Right.
always reintroduce it to this new crop of children. And I mean, like The Angry Caterpillar, how long ago was that written? Right? A Snowy Day, how
Yeah.
long ago was that written?
Yeah.
Every year there's a new crop of kids that gets introduced to these books and it becomes like a classic, a bestseller all over again because a new generation gets excited about these books. And then we, as parents, get excited because these were beloved books when we were kids, and we get to reintroduce them and experience them pretty much all anew through the eyes
Yes.
of this younger generation. So that's
Yeah.
what I love about children's books.
Yes. Well, and that happens with adult books,
It
with
does.
nonfiction books as well. I was just speaking to a group about being a thought leader and how, you think about the ideas that you put out in the world, they are constantly being updated, as well as there's a new audience coming in to awareness about your book
Yeah.
every year, every 6 months. And so there's always an opportunity to grow. And I in publishing we talk about having the books having a long tail, right? So they come out first, and then they just keep giving. They can just keep giving, and so sometimes it may seem like it's slow at the beginning, but you have to build up, but they'll be around. I mean, that's the beauty of a published book. It can live in perpetuity, right?
Yeah.
We still read Shakespeare. We still read Dr. Seuss,
Mhm.
So though that is the beauty of publishing a book. But the most important thing is to do it right. So we also are going to be talking, I know we're going to be talking about the cover design. You and I go hard on the cover design conversations and basic formatting. So we want to make sure that we're going to cover the basics of publishing, of creating a book, the actual production of the book, as well as the marketing and selling and promotion, all of those things. And that's what I'm really excited about because, yeah, we do this all the time anyway. That's why I said, well, let's do it on Tuesday. Let's do it regular because we can go hard. And I feel like, yes, it's great for us to share that knowledge, but I think it will be helpful to a lot of people who are out here checking us out on LinkedIn, who also want to publish books and who want to build their brand as an author and build an author platform. So I'm really excited about that. What do you think is going to be the really exciting part about talking about this whole experience for us on Tuesdays at 6 p.m.?
I'm excited about bringing people on because in addition to us talking, I have a great the self-published, independent published community is to me it's kind of mine is kind of small, especially with Black women, and we talk a
Yes.
lot and we definitely support each other. It's a very, very supportive community, and we share resources and knowledge, and we support each other and promote each other. And I talk a lot extensively with other authors who share my vision, especially with making children's books more diverse. And I'm gonna totally enjoy. You said something about like the careers in schools, and I know Tiffany L. Bing, who has an awesome Andrew Career Day series, and now she's added Ashley to it. She would definitely have a lot to say about that because she's doing a lot of really great things with that series. So I can't wait for her to come on, and people like Tamika Mitchell, who has
Yeah.
Supermom and her sidekick crew, which Leap Forward Publishing helped her produce that book. So I can't wait to have people like her come on, and other experts who can lend their voice to the platform as all the things, because these are all people that I leaned on to learn my information and to learn how to do what I do. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people poured into me during this process, and I'm eternally thankful. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward.
And we're also going to go global because we've already started making connections internationally. And we have talked, we went to Canada, to
Yes,
Toronto
yes, we did.
for a book event. So that was
Yes.
exciting. And we've made some connections up there. I actually have a author workshop coming up in a couple of weeks at the end of the month with OC Publishing, which is one of the publishing companies in Canada as well.
Do you, Nick?
So, yes, I do.
Muse.
Yes. So, we're making those connections. I've connected with another Canadian publisher who publishes only Francophone books, and that's French speaking books for y'all who may not know that term. But we want to be able to have all of these folks on and go even beyond Canada, but to really be inclusive and like you said, have a lot of Black representation, bring the knowledge in from all of the corners of the industry, and know that we can elevate the voices of our community as we grow and inform and help to really highlight the great stories that are out there, fiction and nonfiction, for the community here on LinkedIn and beyond. So,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
So many
So,
topics. So many topics.
so many things.
So many topics. So we have to talk about.
Yes, yes, indeed. So we're going to wrap up now, but we will plan on being back here next week, same time, 6:00. And we're going to have a special guest, and you all will learn who that is in the next day, because we just want to make sure that we have the everything set up. And everybody, actually, we've had some really great people who've already expressed interest in coming and joining us.
I've
So I'm
mentioned
really excited.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So we'll do that, but we will be back. And please make sure that you keep the calendar. Keep your calendar open for this time and join us, share your comments, send us questions in advance, and we will be happy to engage you and talk about, and we're also going to talk about some actual books that are out there and some of the authors, and connect with some authors too.
Yes.
So
I'm
looking forward to it. Me too.
Yes.
All right, Deb. Thanks so much. I'm glad we got to do this.
Thank you.
Yay! We are on. It's the second quarter of 2024.
Yes.
And isn't it like International Children's Book Day or something like that?
Stop saying that, because I should know that. Don't do that. Don't do that. This weekend took me out. So please, the thing is, I should know that. Now you're gonna have me look it up.
I put stuff on my calendar. That's the only way that I know, is that I put it on my calendar.
If I didn't post today, then that is just shameful.
But that is it. When we're solopreneurs, so this is what happens when you're solo. Sometimes you don't get all the things, but that doesn't stop us. That one miss.
It sure is.
Yeah,
it sure is. Okay, it's never too late. 6:30.
It's not late. It's international. That you got. It's 24 hours.
I will post about it. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Yeah. I'll remind you sooner next time.
And this is something that we got to talk about, right? Because we're doing everything ourselves. Yes. But if I had someone who was my social media manager, which I need to get one, they would have been on it. They would have been on it. They would have been on it.
Yes, absolutely.
This is the problem with wearing or trying to wear all the hats.
Yes.
And,
yes.
Yeah.
But that means that we have to prioritize. And that's something that I like to talk about too, is really, if you're leading your business, you have to really prioritize. You have to have a couple of things, and you have to make sure that the things make the main thing the main thing. And if you direct your energy in that way, then you can find yourself making the other parts more manageable, I find. And I've seen that be the case for a lot of folks. But it's going to be really good to be able to go through all of these things and have some people come and share some resources with us and some insights, and share the wins, share some frustrations. But really, really, there are more wins out there than I think people realize. And so I think it's going to be really important to to have folks on here who talk about the wins and who set us up for success, no matter what stage of the process we're in. And that's what I want to do. Yeah.
I agree.
Nope. All right. So see you same time next week. Thanks so much. Good to see you. Yes. Have a great one.
Have a great one. Bye.
Excellent.